Hello everyone, this is Simple Math for you. Our lesson today is two-dimensional figures. أهلا بكم في Simple Math for you ودرسنا اليوم هو أشكال ثنائية الأبعاد. And in this lesson we are going to learn about perimeter المحيط, circumference محيط الدائرة and area المساحة, مساحة الدائرة أو مساحة المضلعات. المضلع the polygon is a closed plane figure with at least 3 straight sides. So this is not a polygon because it is open. It's not closed. This is a polygon. It's closed. Polygon can be also something like this. You can close it and this will be polygon. Not necessarily to be regular. مضلع. It is connected of sides. Segments are connected and the connection point is called a vertex. Any curved path will not be considered as polygon. Even if you have two segments, then for example, this was curved, this is like the ice cream cube, then it is ice cream cone, I mean, it's not a polygon because of the curved path. So we will study the circle as part of our lesson, but it's not a polygon. The minimum number of sides for a polygon is 3. So the first polygon that we are going to study is the triangle. It starts with 3 sides. We cannot have polygon with 2 sides. ما في عندنا مضلع بضلعين فقط. We have to start by the triangle المثلث. And the perimeter المحيط, the perimeter of a polygon is the sum of lengths of the sides of the polygon. يعني مثلا if you want to find the perimeter of the triangle, whatever is the triangle, if it has two sides equal or none of the sides are equal, then you are going to add the sum, the number, I mean the lengths of the sides. You are going to add A plus B plus C. طبعا we don't have to add H because H is the height. The height usually الارتفاع is the segment coming from the vertex perpendicular to the base. بيعمل زاوية قائمة مع القاعدة as you all see here. So this is the triangle and this is the perimeter. So the perimeter here of the square will be what? 4 S's. Since the square is a polygon with 4 equal sides, then if you want to find the perimeter of the square, multiply the S by 4. Easy. For the rectangle, if you want to find the perimeter, we know that opposite sides are congruent. أضلاع متقابلة متساوية. So here is the length and here is the width as well. So if you want to add them, L plus L صار 2L, W plus W, 2 W's. So we can write it as 2W plus 2L or 2 between brackets L plus W. You can add the length and the width and multiply the sum by 2. ممكن تجمع الطول والعرض وتضرب الناتج في 2. These are the simple polygons that we are going to study. Moving to the area, المساحة. The area is the number of the square units needed to cover a surface. So the area here of the triangle is half base by height. Remember, when you are calculating base and height, usually they are perpendicular to each other. You cannot consider this as height. Unless you have right triangle, if you have right triangle, for example, this is right. If this is A, B, C, it's very obvious here that من الواضح إنه B and A are perpendicular to each other. So you can find the area of this triangle by multiplying A times B and divide by 2. Or you can say half AB because B can be considered as height, A as a base, or vice versa. أو العكس مش مهم. Area of the rectangle, area of the square are related. The square is a special case of the triangle. The area مساحة المستطيل طول في العرض length by width. And as you see here, the triangle is half a rectangle. المثلث نص rectangle, نص المستطيل. That's why it's half base times height. And in the rectangle, the base and height اللي هم width وال length are always perpendicular to each other. يعني هم بيعملوا زوايا قائمة مع بعضهم البعض. Square special case من الريكتانجل. يعني if you find length by width. The length is S if the side length is S. The width is also S, so S times S is also S squared. So the area of the square is S square, or side length square. Now moving to the circle is not a polygon, and we are going to study the circumference اللي هو محيط الدائرة. The circumference محيط الدائرة هو 2 pi r. You will use pi as 3.14. r is the radius of the circle, نصف القطر. And what is the diameter and the radius relation? The diameter is the segment that is connecting two points passing through the center. 2 points on the circle passing through the center. يعني مثلا this one is not a diameter. يعني هذا مو diameter. This is called chord الوتر. We are not going to deal with it now. We are going to deal with diameters and radii. جمع radius. So this total length is called diameter. And if you divide the diameter by 2, you will have the radius. So radius must be from the center to any point. All these each one is a radius, نص القطر. So we can consider C, the circumference, as pi d or 2 pi r, knowing that 2 pi r is the same as d. So you are free to use any formula. But for the area, you will need the radius specifically, radius square. Pi times r square is the area of the circle. Pi r square. مساحة الدائرة هي نص القطر تربيع ضرب pi, which is 3.14. هذه نبذة قصيرة عن المساحة والمحيط. طيب هلا what is the regular polygon? Regular polygon مثلا square is a special case of a polygon. It's called regular polygon because it has all sides equal and all angles equal. كل الأطوال متساوية وكل الزوايا قائمة متساوية. All angles are equal. So we call it equal, regular polygon. كمان equilateral triangle, if the triangle is equilateral متساوي الأضلاع, this is called regular triangle, regular polygon. Now let's take examples here from the book. Find the perimeter or circumference and area of each figure if each unit of the graph measures 1 centimeter. Round answers to the nearest tenth if necessary. You are asked to find perimeter. So perimeter is the sum of all sides. So we need to find this length. This length is obviously 1, 2, 3, 4 units. So this is 4. Since he said each square measures 1 centimeter, so we will just count. Here you can count, and it's from 9 to 1 or 1 to 9, so it is obviously 8 units. Of course, you can use distance formula here, but if it is horizontal or vertical segment, it's easier for you to count the number of units. Now, if you want now to find the BC, this one, I'll mark it here, this one, then you cannot count now. You need to use distance formula. Reminder, distance formula is a square root of. I hope you all remember it. So we are finding now BC. So we can name this x1, y1, x2, y2, whatever, even the opposite is okay. So 1 minus 9 all square plus 0 minus 4 all square. So minus 8 all square plus minus 4 all square, which is square root of 64 plus 16. And it is 64 plus 16, square root of 80. And if you find the square root of 80, it is 4 radical 5. It can be rounded to decimal, يعني it's about 8.9. But I will deal with the radical one because it's more exact. So the perimeter now, I will write the perimeter is the sum of the sides, 4 plus 8 plus the square root of 80. So you can add and it will give you 20.9 طبعا centimeters because every square represents 1 centimeter. Area is half base by height, or base times height over 2. Since this is horizontal and this is vertical, so we are sure that they are perpendicular to each other, so we can multiply 4 by 8 divided by 2, which is 16 centimeter square unit. This is the triangle. Okay, example for the rectangle now. It's very clear that it's a rectangle. And for the rectangle, if you see here, none of them is vertical, يعني مش vertical or horizontal, so that we can count easily. We need to find the distance using distance formula, or the length using distance formula. It's enough for us to find this one because it's the same, and this one of them. So let's start by AB, for example. If you want to find AB, also you use distance formula. Be careful with the minus signs. This is AB. Then we will find, for example, BC, you can find whatever, or AD, one of them, yani one length, one width. So we can name this now X1, Y1, and let's this be X2, Y2. Okay, now we found the length and the width. So the perimeter is twice length plus width. So it's 2 times square root of 45 plus square root of 20. So I will add square root of 45 plus square root of 20 and multiply the result by 2. It will give me about 22.4, and the unit is centimeter only. Area of the rectangle is length by width, or base by height. So you should multiply square root of 45 times the square root of 20. Square root of 45 times square root of 20, it is 30. Because it's the square root of 900, so it's 30 centimeters square. Okay, now we have here, we will not say perimeter for this one, we will say circumference. وحيد الدائرة, it's 2 pi r. As you see, the r radius is not here, we need to find it. This is the radius. So we will use distance formula as well. 4 minus 2 or square plus 1 minus 3 or square, which is 2 square plus negative 2 or square. Remember, even if you square a negative value, it should give you a positive value. 4 plus positive 4, it's square root of 8. I will leave it this way. C is 2 times 3.14. Pi is always, we use the pi as 3.14. Sometimes you will find the result in terms of pi, and I will show you now. Let's do this first. So square root of 8 times 3.14 times 2 is about 27.8. You can say 2 times pi times square root of 8. So just you multiply 2 by square root of 8, you may have the result looking like that. In terms of pi, some questions leaving the answer in this way, centimeters. And also you can then multiply, and 4 times radical 2, 4 times radical 2 in decimal is 5.6 pi, also approximately, yani. All are acceptable answers, of course. So square root of 8 times 3.14 times 2. Let's check again. 2 times 3.14 times the square root of 8. I'm checking. Oh, this is wrong answer. 17.8. It is 17.8. Okay. Now the area of the circle is pi r squared. So it is 3.14. Radius, we found the radius already. So it is 8. Square root of 8 all square كأنها هاي كنسلت هاي. It's 8 times 3.14 which is 25.12 centimeter square. And also you can write it if you want in terms of pi, it is 8 pi. Square root of 8 square is 8 and pi remains the same. Very good. It looks square, but we can't prove that. As you see here, this is the first diagonal, it's 4 units. This is the second diagonal, is 4 units. Diagonals are congruent and one vertical, one horizontal. So they are equal and perpendicular, or congruent and perpendicular. That's why we call it square. So that means it's enough for us to find one of the sides. Let's find HG. Also, we will use distance formula because all are slanted, Maylene. So we say 3 minus 1 all square plus minus 1 minus 3 all square. 2 squares plus another 2 squares. So square root of 8 as well. This is one of the lengths. So the perimeter is 4 times the radical 8. You can also convert it to decimal, which is 11.3 centimeters. The area is the side length square, means square root of 8 all square, which is 8, and it is centimeter square. Great, easy. One example from each shape, as you see. Triangle. For this triangle, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 length, we need to find the AC. Then we find also AB using distance formula. You can do it with me. And now that perimeter, you add square root of 32 plus square root of 20 plus the 6 that we found before. Square root of 32 plus square root of 20 plus the 6, it gives 16.1 centimeter. Now, what about the area? Let's change the color here. Area of the triangle is half base times height, or you can say base times height over 2. So this is my base, this is my height. So 1, 2, 3, 4 is the height. Your height should be always perpendicular to the base. So it is 4 times 6 over 2, which is 12 centimeter square. Okay, great. Now let's model what we have here in real life application. In real life application, you will find the nearest shape. Of course, here, this looks like the circle, أكيد. You are asked to find perimeter or circumference, so C is 2 pi r. Is the 5 inches r? Of course, no, it is the diameter. So you can use also this formula. So you can say pi times 5. 5 pi, which is 5 times 3.14. 3.14 times 5, which is 15.7 inches. I mean, this is inches. Like for the area, you need the r. So you need to find half of this distance. This is the, let's choose another color. This is the radius from here to here only. So our radius is 5/2, which is 2.5, and accordingly, area is pi r squared, which is 3.14 r. It's 2.5 or square. 2.5 square is 6.25, so it can be written as 6.25 pi, or you can multiply by 3.14, which is 19.6 inches squared. Now let's move to this example. This is a little bit confusing because it's mixed of foot and inches, feet and inches. So we need to convert the foot to inches or vice versa. Knowing that 1 foot is 12 inches, so that means I can convert all these side lengths to foot. So by dividing every inch over 12, we have all the dimensions in foot. So if you want to find the perimeter, you will add the side only. We don't add this one inside. We are going around the shape. Yani imagine yourself here and you are going around this shape. So we are just adding the side lengths, which are 13 and 4/12, which is 1/3, yani, plus another 13 and 4/12, plus another 14 and 7/12. Now, if you use the calculator and add them, let's add together. I'll give you a chance. But in the calculator, use shift and the one that is with fraction. You have to use that so that you have these 3 digits to use. So 13 and 1/3, which is the 4/12, plus another time shifting. I'm giving you a chance to practice with me using the calculator properly, plus another shift with 14 and 7/12. It will give us 41.25. 41.25 foot is equivalent to 41 feet or feet, يعني, plus the 0.25 feet. 0.25 of the 1 foot is 0.25 times 12, لأن 1 feet is 12 inches. So it is 41 feet, and 1/4 of the 12 is 3 inches. This is the perimeter. هلا في area is half times base times height, or base times height over 2. So you can use them. 13. Which one? صحيح, this is confusing for you. Some students were asking me, Miss, which one I shall use for base and height? Since this height is given to you, then this must be your base. You cannot use any other base. This is the base that I need. Usually the base and the height are perpendicular to each other, so don't use any base. Now you should use this one. So you will use 14 and 7/12 times 11 and 2/12 over 2. And this also can be used using the calculator. Shift fraction 14 and 7/12 times shift another time 11 over 6 over 2, and the answer is 81.42 feet square. Leave it as it is, foot square. This is the area of this triangle. It's a little bit combining the conversion plus the area plus the perimeter, which is a good example. Dev is designing a new sign for his art studio. However, he needs to make several improvements to the sign before it's ready to be hung. Dev wants to add metal trim around perimeter. metal around the perimeter. So we need now to find the perimeter of this shape. Knowing that, we need to add all these sides for the perimeter plus this curved side, which is a semicircle, نص دائرة, half of the circle. So if you want to find the perimeter, first let's find the circumference over 2. The circumference of the semicircle is 2 pi r, the total, over 2, لأنها نص دائرة. So it is just pi r. Okay, what is radius? If you know that this total length is 7, take away, and take the 2 out, 7 minus 4, 3. So this part is 3, and this is the diameter of the circle. يعني هي هاي, this is the circle originally. We are dealing now with the upper part only, half of the circle. From here to here, it's 3. So the radius is half of the 3, which is 1.5. That means this is 3.14 times 1.5, because our radius, as we have agreed, is 1.5 foot. And if you multiply 3.14 times 1.5, it is 4.71 foot or feet. Now, what is the perimeter? You are going to add this curved path, which is 4.71, plus 2, plus 3.5, plus 7, plus another 3.5, because we need to include this one, and another 2, and the answer will be plus 5.5, plus another 5.5, plus 7, it is 22.71 feet. This is the perimeter. The front of the sign also needs to be waterproofed with a protective sealer. How much area needs to be covered? Now we need, for the same shape, we need the area. Area will be the area of the total rectangle, which is length by width. And the length is 7 times the width is 3.5. So 7 by 3.5 is 24.5 feet square. Plus the area of this is rectangle, we need the area of the semicircle. Circle area is pi r square. We have half circle, you divide by 2, so it's 3.14. We found the radius as 1.5 from the previous example over 2. So we'll multiply 1.5 squared times 3.14 divide by 2. The answer is 3.5 feet square. So the total area is 3.5 plus 24.5, which is 28 feet square. If a pint of sealer covers the area of 20 square feet, then how many pints of sealer should have purchased? كل pint افترض كأنه علبة, يعني كل pint covering 20 foot square. So if we have 28 foot square, how many pins you are going to have? You can cross multiply if you want. So 20x is equal to 28, or directly you can know that it's 28 over 20. If you divide 28 over 20, it will be 1.4. Of course, you are not going to buy 1.4 pins, so you need 2 pins at least. Great. Let's see here, how can we deal with this exercise? 8-ball pool is a popular game played on a pool table that has 6 pockets. In 8-ball pool, there are 7 strip balls, 7 solid colored balls, and black 8 balls. So total number of balls, and this is what we care about, is 15. We have 15 balls in total. And these are the dimensions given. Knowing that this is the height, of course, so this is my height, and it is known, it's 9.96. The base, because it's perpendicular, base is perpendicular to that one, it's 11.5. We need the area. So area is half base by height, just multiply and divide by 2, you will find the area of this triangle, 9.96 times 11.5, divide everything by 2. So 9.96 times 11.5, divide by 2, it is 57.27 inches square. Okay, 57.7 inches square. Now, the other part of the question, approximate the area covered by a single ball to the nearest tenth of a square inch. This area, which is 57.27 inches square, covers 15 balls. The question is asking about how much area is covered by one ball, one single ball. So what will you do? Simply you can divide actually. So we'll divide 57.27 over 15 and it will give us 3.8 inches square. Easy. Now, if an athlete runs around the track here once, then how far has the athlete traveled to the nearest tenth? As you see here, it's very clear that we need to find the total perimeter. The total perimeter includes this length, and the semicircle here, and semicircle here, and semicircle there. So we can combine two semicircles to be one total circle with diameter 73. So we can generalize here the case we have as if we have here circle with diameter 73 meters. And this was one of the parts of the circle, and this was the other part of the circle. So we combined them together because the athlete will run this and this path plus this and that path. So let's find the circumference of the total circle, which is pi times d. So it is 73 times 3.14. So we will multiply 73 by 3.14, which is 229.22 meters. And the total perimeter will be this amount plus 84.39 twice up and down فوق وتحت. So we will add 84.39 twice. And it is giving us 398 meters. Here we are approximating according to the dimensions given. We are ignoring the thickness of this track. Last question here, the figure shows Derek's house and his backyard on coordinate grid. Derek is planning to fence the play area. He wants to fence this area in his backyard. Part of the play area is enclosed by the house. So this one is touching the house and does not need to be fenced. So we are not going to fence this. We are going to fence only this part. Okay, has the question. Each unit on the coordinate grid represents 5 feet. So this is 5 by 5. The cost for the fencing material and installation is $10 per foot. How much will cost Derek to install the fence? Since we are talking about fencing, that means we are talking about perimeter. So the perimeter means the distance around the shape, which is in our case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 units. 13 units. Now each unit represents 5 feet. That means the distance needed is 5 times 13. We multiply 5 times 13, which is 65 feet. يعني كل مربع يمثل 5 قدم. So we have to multiply. لازم نضرب. The cost for each foot is $10. So the total cost is 65 times 10, which is $650. I think this is an easy question. And I think this lesson should be clear for everyone. Remember, you should remember the formulas. All the formulas needed are for the area of the triangle, rectangle. Let's go up to check them back. these formulas to be memorized. Perimeter of the triangle, square, rectangle, and the circumference of the circle. Area of the triangle, rectangle, square, and the circle. Sometimes you might have composite solid that includes both areas, square and circle, semicircle, whatever, or quarter circle. Remember to divide. Thank you all. شكرا جزيلا للجميع. إلى اللقاء.